in the last lecture, we have talked about the pointer type. So how to declare the pointer? That is the basic type of the pointer, the asterisk operator in C, and the name of the variable. So with this, it declares that this is a pointer variable P of type integer. And in this code, when I am not assigning any value, any address to the pointer variable P, at that time it is referred as a while pointer. Okay. Now, if I have declared this pointer P with the value null, at that time it will be referred as null pointer. Okay. And but obvious, when we have declared assigning a value to the 20, so meaning is what? For A, the address is suppose XX20, and the value will be stored as 20 over here, XX30, actual value will be 20. And when I am saying a pointer variable P, but obvious, if I am writing P is equal to ampersand A. So what it does with this unary operator ampersand, it is going to assign the address to this pointer variable P. So but obvious over here for P, it is going to have some another address, XX suppose 40, and it is holding the address of A. So XX30, which will point to the A variable. So this is actually the indirect accessing by using pointer variable. And while doing this, we have seen different operations like assignment, equality, dereferencing. How we can do that already we have seen in detail. So we have talked about while pointer, null pointer, and also if you remember, we have also talked about dangling pointer. So when the memory storage is there, but it is not accessible, at that time that pointer is dangling. So for that, if you remember, we have took the example of linked list. So over here, if I am deleting this particular cell, at that time this pointer, the memory storage is there, I am not able to access, but this pointer is going to be dangling. Okay, so these are the three different types of pointers already I have explained. After that, we have discussed about the two-string table in a Pascal as well as in the C programming language. Now, so after this, we are going to start with the next concept from the unit 2, that is the procedure activation. Now, just let me know whether my screen is visible or not.
No, ma'am.
Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Correct. So the next topic which we are going to talk in today's lecture is procedure activation. So basically, what is procedure activation and what we are going to cover under this particular topic is introduction to procedure, how parameters are going to be passed to these procedures, different methods for the procedures, then scope rules for the names, nested scope in the source text, activation record, and lexical scope in C programming and in Pascal programming languages. So basically what we mean by the procedure. So I hope you people are familiar with the functions. Have you used functions in C programming?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Correct. So basically, procedure activation is nothing but it is the concept where before programming language were going to be in existence, there were procedures. So these procedures are nothing but the constructs for giving name to a piece of coding. So when you are having a set of instructions and you want to give that some particular name to that group of instruction, that is nothing but a procedures. Okay, so the procedures are a construct for giving a name to a piece of coding. The piece is that block of instructions or that set of instruction is referred as a procedure body, and when the name is called, that body is executed. So each execution of the body is called activation. Okay, so for example, all of you are familiar with swapping or addition of two variables and all that. Okay, so my procedure activation is what? As I mentioned, procedure is nothing but a set of instructions. Okay, so basically, we will take one example so that it will be easy for you people to understand. Now, if I want to write the set of instructions in order to snap two variables. Okay. So now whenever I am going to snap these variables, what I am going to do? I am going to use int, one temporary variable, and a and b. Okay. Now when I want to snap the values of a and b, a is equal to I have written 10, b is equal to I have written 50. Okay. And now I want to snap the values that I want A become 50 and B become 10. So for that, the set of code, so for snapping these values, I am going to write the piece of code as a snap function and using C programming language. So over here, I am going to, in order to swap any two values, I am going to use 10. I am going to assign the value of A over here, any variable, that is 10 to 10. Then A is equal to B, and then B is equal to 10. Am I right? So what it will do? It will take one temporary variable. When I'm saying assign the value of A, so whatever be at location 10, it will be copied into temporary variable. Then I'm copying B value into A, so this location will become 50, and then 10 to B, so over here it will become 10. Right? So this set of a piece of instruction, this is called my body of the procedure. Okay, so the piece of code which is referred over here as this is my procedure body, and but obvious in order to call this particular function in my main program I'm going to call swap, and which parameter, which variable I want to swap, that I'm going to pass. So, but obvious, whenever this particular line is going to be executed, so whenever I'm using this name, at that time it will transfer the control to that particular procedure. Over here, I will use some different chart. So whenever from my main program, I'm going to call this swap and I'm passing some parameters. At that time, the control will be passed to that particular location where that particular procedure is written. So that is nothing but when the name is called, the body is going to be executed. It means it will pass the control and this procedure body will get executed. So each execution of the body is called activation. So whenever that function name is going to be called, which is referred as nothing but activation of that procedure. Okay. Now, so these are the basic things of the procedure. What is procedure body, and how this body is getting executed. Okay. Now, the next is there are two types of procedure forms. Now, as I mentioned, we are going to see the implementation, or we are using the Pascal and C programming in order to get familiar with this concept. So there are two forms of the procedure, that is function procedures, which are called as functions, and there is another concept of proper procedures. Okay, so procedure and function are there which will refer a set of block in Pascal. Okay, so procedure is different and function is different in Pascal programming, whereas in C programming there is no different concept of procedure. My procedure and functions are same in C programming, but totally it will be depend on the programming language, because as I said, in Pascal it is having two types of procedure: function procedure and proper procedure. So what is function procedure? Function procedure is nothing but which extends built-in operators of a language. So for example, if you are using plus multiplication operator, that are nothing but the function procedures of that language which is used or which will supported in that particular programming language. Whereas proper procedures, which nothing but which extends a built-in actions or the statements. So what we mean by the procedure, so if you remember in imperative programming languages in the previous unit, I told you that read, write, all these are the built-in procedures. So over here, it is not a operator. So this is nothing but some action, that is with a read, it indicate it will call a built-in procedure of the Pascal programming, which will read the input for the user. Whereas a write, it indicate that it will call a write procedure of that programming language, which will perform some specific action or it will execute that particular set of code or the script which is already there for that particular procedure. So this is about the function procedure and proper procedure, the two forms of procedure. Now, so how this mapping of your procedure name will take place? Okay, so mapping of the name to the value, it will be done in 3 steps. So from names to their declaration, from declaration to storage location, and from location to the values. So meaning is what? Whenever we are, whenever the name of that particular procedure is occurred, so from that name, so as I just now mentioned, whenever the compiler is getting the swap keyword, that is the occurrence of that procedure. So compiler will come to know that this is some user defined procedure in the program. So it will check for the declaration of that particular procedure. So when it gets that declaration, so see over here in this particular example, whenever in my program we have written the procedure swap over here in my main program. So whenever my compiler is getting this snap keyword, it will check for the declaration. So it will get this declaration of this particular procedure. So that is nothing but the mapping of the name to the declaration of that particular procedure. And after getting this declaration, but obvious, the memory will be allocated for the variables in this particular procedure. Right? So so whenever it gets that name, from that name occurrence, it will check the declaration. So it will come over here. And with that declaration, it will get the complete set of instructions of that particular procedure. So it is nothing but from declaration to the storage location. It means whatever the variables you are using in this procedure, the storage will be allocated to that particular variable in the procedure. So from declaration to the storage location, and but obvious in that location, in that procedure, whatever be the values, so it will from that location it will access the values. Okay, so in this way it will does the mapping of the name and the values in your procedure. So basically an occurrence of a name in a program is within the scope of the declaration, which is when we are getting a name of swap, it will check for the declaration. So that indicates the scope. Then a variable declaration can be bound to a different location each time a procedure is called or activated. So whenever, as I mentioned, the compiler got that definition of that particular procedure, the memory will be allocated for that procedure, and then a location can hold different value as the state of computation evolves. So depending on the application or depending on the functionality which you have written for that procedure, the memory locations will hold the different values as per the activation. So in current case, my temporary variable will hold a value 50 whenever we are swapping the values. So this is mapping of the name to the value. Now, next is, so I hope you have understood what is scope. That is, it will check for the name occurrence to the actual declaration. Now, in detail, I will let you know what we mean by a local type of different scope. So scope is nothing but the visibility of that particular name in your program. Okay. Now, so whenever we are talking about the procedures, but obvious variables which are associated with the procedures are referred as the actual and formal parameters. Okay, so we have already discussed that parameters are nothing but the variables which you are passing as an argument with the procedure. So already we have seen whenever the variable is declared in our program, it is going to have the attribute like it is name is associated, location will be associated. So it is nothing but the name given to a storage area that our programs can manipulate. And each variable in C has a specific type, that is whether it is int, float, so that specific data type, and it determines the size and layout of the variable. So size, it means for integer we are knowing in C programming. Size is, what is the size of int in C programming?
2.
Two bits, 2 words, 2 nibbles. What is that? What is the unit?
2 bytes.
2 bytes, correct? So over here, whenever we have declared a variable, it indicates a specific type, and based on that type, it determines the size of that particular variable and the layout of the variable in the memory. That is how that variable is located in my memory. So these things already we have learned. So now how it is referred or how it is associated with the procedure, that we are going to see in detail. So when we are talking about the procedures, the variables are referred as a parameters. And there are two types of parameters, actual parameter and formal parameter. So the arguments given in the calling function is called the actual or the original arguments or actual parameters. So over here I have taken add function, whereas in our case we have written a swap function. So whenever I am passing for this particular given example swap a comma b, so but obvious while calling, whenever you are give a call to a procedure, the parameters which you are passing with the calling function are called as actual parameters or original arguments, or it is also referred as actual arguments. Now, the arguments used in a function definition, so wherever the function is defined, all the complete definition of the procedure is given with that particular function definition, the parameter list. So in this case, wherever I have declared a int add and the parameter list which I'm passing, this is called as a formal parameters. Okay, so in case of our swap, but obvious whatever be the parameter with the function definition, they are referred as formal parameter. So see, whenever we are calling a procedure, with that procedure when we are passing the parameters, that are called actual parameters, and in the function definition they are called as, or they are referred as the formal parameters. So now this is one more example. So this is my C example, add numbers. So this is my main function. So I think what we will do, instead of showing this, we will see the actual thing, how the code, how the activation will be done and all the stuff. So just let me share my screen. We will come to these slides afterwards. Just let me know whether my code screen is visible to you or not. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we will take one example of the same thing which we have just now done. Swapping A is equal to 20, is equal to 100, and I'm writing a swap function. Okay. Now, for swapping, we know that we want to interchange the values. So, A comma B. Now, tell me, I want to write the definition of this particular swap int x comma int y. And over here, I want to just swap the values.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt, but the semicolon is missing in B is equal to 100.
Okay. Thank you. In temp, then temp is equal to what am I supposed to do? Yes.
A.
A is equal, temp is equal to A. Then B is equal to
A.
correct. And then
B.
temp is equal to
Ma'am, A is equal to B and then B is equal to 10.
Yes, ma'am.
I have the value of B
Ma'am, B is equal to 10.
equal to A because I have moved the value of A into 10. I'm moving the value of A is equal to B. So now B will be becoming this value. And now my B equal to 10, right? Agreed? What it will do? It will change. Now see, over here, I have written this particular swap function. So according to this, it has to swap these two values. Now we will see what happened. Yes, girls. Are you able to understand what is the problem over here?
Ma'am, it should be x and y.
It is, see, whenever I'm calling a function, whenever be the swap function, it is calling, at that time, the actual parameters are A and B, which I'm passing. Whereas in my procedure definition, I'm using X and Y, right? So that particular variables I have to use over here in my program, not exactly the A and B. Am I right? Is screen is visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. So quickly we will see. See, whenever I'm executing this particular thing, whatever be the variables in my main program, the memory will be allocated at compile time. See, A will be changed, B will be 100. And see, this is the swap keyword or the name of my procedure. And whenever this procedure name is going to be called at that time, it will, from the name occurrence, it will check the definition of that particular procedure. Okay, so see, when it checks, my compiler will check for the swap procedure, and it will get that particular location. So when the control will be passed, okay, so scope of these particular variables will be immediately allocated for the variables, right? So the swap function, I am having x, y, and temp. And but obvious, when this particular thing is going to be executed, so from name it check for the declaration, that is going to be, it check the declaration of the swap, and it is that procedure. Once it will get that declaration of that procedure will be activated. So meaning is what, when this control will be passed to this procedure, but obvious it will allocate a memory for that particular procedure. So that's why after getting this first line of procedure is executed, it allocates a memory or it allocates a location for this swap procedure. And for this swap, whatever be the variables I'm using, also the memory will be allocated that particular variables. Now during that particular thing, see, immediately when it goes inside, when the procedure is activated, it means it start executed. See, my A and B, which are nothing but referred as a actual parameters or the original parameters, which is holding the value 10 and 100. Whereas in my procedure, they are X and Y. So my X and Y are holding the values of A and B over here. And after that, then it will swap the value. So see, check it out, what is happening. So during this particular execution, during the activation of the procedure, the state of the values or the state of that particular location is changing. Okay, so that is nothing but the state of that particular variable during the execution of the procedure. I hope you have understood. This is when the procedure is activated, immediately it will allocate a memory. The actual parameters are copied into the formal parameters. So A and B. So whenever there is a call to a procedure, so parameter list with that call is called as actual parameter list. Whereas with the procedure definition, the list of parameters in this example, my X and Y will be referred as the formal parameters. This is the state of the when the procedure is activated. This indicates the activation of the procedure with the location or by allocating a memory to the variables, and depending on the functionality, the state of this particular variables is going to be changed. Okay, so this is what all the things which I have explained you on the previous slide. So again, we will go back to the slides. So this is what mapping of names, which I have already told you, scope, activation, and the state. After that, actual parameter, formal parameters, just now I have explained. So, but obvious, these are the formal parameters is nothing but the function parameters. Over here, name of your procedure and your function definition. So that is called as the signature or the function prototyping. So whenever you in few programming languages, you have to give the function prototype, meaning is what the signature of that particular procedure. That is called as function prototype. With that function, whatever be the parameters you are passing, that are the function parameters. This is the function call, and whatever be the parameter you are passing with that function, with that particular procedure, they are called as actual parameters. And with the function declaration, the arguments are referred as the formal parameters. Now, this is one more example which I have already explained with the example. Whenever the function from the calling program, so this is called as a calling, whereas this is called as a calling program. So this is calling program, whereas this is my caller. So this particular, after executing add statement, it will pass the control to this particular add function, and the values, actual parameters, get copied with the formal parameter values, just now as I have shown with the swap function. Okay, so now after this we will see in detail with respect to the programming languages, what is procedures and all that. So the basic terminology. So see what I said, there are two types of procedures in the programming language, that is pure, what we can say, the pure procedures and the functions. So functions can take 0 or more arguments and it returns a value of a given type. Whereas procedure can take 0 or more arguments and then do nothing, then it will perform some specific operation. Meaning is what, as I mentioned, when we are using a scanf, printf in C programming, it is nothing but the procedure. That is the built-in script provided by my programming language. So procedure can take 0 or more arguments. So meaning is what, when it will take some argument, as I mentioned, the example is printf, scanf. But at the same time, the 0 argument. So will you be able to give me any example from the C programming where procedures are taking 0 argument? Can you give me any example where there is no parameter we are passing to any procedure? So I will give you an example. With exit, we are passing just 0. or with a get ch. I think you are familiar with get ch function in C programming. So that is a procedure which takes 0 or more arguments and then do some specific operation. Whereas functions take 0 or more arguments and it return a value of given type. So I can say with a procedure, it is not returning any value. It will perform some specific function or it performs some specific functionality. It won't return anything. At that time, it is referred as a procedure. Whereas functions take 0 or more argument and it returns a value of a given type. So example is your square root. Square root 4, it means it will take the parameter as 4 and it will calculate the square root of that number and it will return that value of the number. So my 4 is 4 ka square root is 2, so it will return. So with square root, it will return the value. There is one more function. Example is a random fopen. So you are familiar with fopen also, which is nothing but it opens a file and it will returns a file pointer. Then the procedures and functions extend the languages. So as I mentioned, in Pascal, we are having procedures as well as the functions, whereas in C programming, there is procedure and functions are referred as the same thing. So it totally depends on the programming language, how the procedures and functions are used. So the elements of procedure, already we talked a lot about that. The name of the declared procedure, the name what we are going to give to the set of blocks, a body consisting of local declaration and statements, that is set of instruction, formal parameters which are replaced by the actual parameters that I just now explained it to you. And if that particular procedure is returning any result, then return type. So just now, as I mentioned with the square root function on the previous slide. So that is the elements of the procedure. So see, the example is square root or a square. So when I'm calling a square function 2, it means it will perform 2 into 2 and the result will be written as a integer type over here. So when I'm using square 2, square 3, square 4, so this is, I can make it generalized as square x, which will multiply x into x. So my procedure name is square over here. The formal parameter x, which will be replaced depending on what value you are passing with that function, that will be replaced with x of type integer. So that is your formal parameter x, which represent in this case 2 and 3 value. And the result type, that is, it will return the result as the square of the given number. And procedure body is what? The set of instructions which are going to perform that specific operation. In this case, it will be x into x. So these are the elements of the procedure. In any of the programming languages, it is referring. So what will be the benefits of the procedure? So procedure is the abstraction. It means
Excuse me, ma'am. Could you please show the previous slide once?
Okay. This one?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. See, whatever just now the 4 elements of the procedure which I talked, I have just explained on this slide with the example of square function. You can take square root also, right? So square is the procedure name, formal parameter is x, result type is integer over here, and procedure body is x into x. Now should I proceed?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So these are the elements of the procedure. So now, why we are using the procedures, what benefits we are getting when we are using these particular concepts. So procedure is the abstraction. So abstraction is what? The procedure name tells what a procedure does and not how it is going to does for us, right? So when I'm saying square, so with that name, it will let me know what actually that particular function is performing. Like add, subtract. So we are knowing when I'm saying add, it means I'm adding the numbers. When I'm saying subtract, it means I'm subtracting the numbers. So with the procedure name, it let us know what that procedure means, but not exactly how it is implemented. So the procedure abstraction is one of the benefit. Implementation hiding, that is the algorithm isolated within the procedure can be modified by changing only the procedure. Meaning is what? Depending on your requirement, you can change the algorithm parameters during in that particular procedure or in that set of instructions only, and it won't affect the rest of the program. So implementation hiding will be there, but the algorithm isolated within the procedure can be easily modified during that in that particular procedure. Then modular programs, that is procedures, are used to partition the program into smaller piece of code which can be easily understood, and it is isolated from the complete program. So modular programming is what? I am going to club a set of instruction as a procedure, and that is nothing but I'm partitioning my complete program into small piece of code. So see, I will give you an example over here. All of you are familiar with the banking system or library system, right? So if I'm taking a banking system, what I will do, I will divide the functionality as deposit. I can take transaction. In transaction, again, I'm saying deposit, withdrawal. So that particular set of instructions will be easy to understand, so that whenever I want to perform that particular operation, I will be able to easily use that particular modular program or that procedure in my whole system. Now last is libraries. The standard collection of useful procedures are referred as libraries. So see, for example, when we are saying scanf, printf, these are the inbuilt procedures of my language. At the same time, if I want to use the square root, square, sine, cos at that time, but obviously you have to use some of the library of that particular programming language. So over here, I will give an example of your C programming, because you are familiar with the C and Java. So whenever you want to use some standard collection of useful procedures like your mathematical operations like trigonometric operations, or basic mathematical operations like square, square root, at that time you are using the math library in that particular programming language. So these are the 4 benefits of the procedure, that is abstraction, implementation hiding, modular program, and the libraries. Now in Pascal, how you are going to declare the procedure and function? As we said that with a procedure, you are going to pass 0 or more parameter. So procedure, name of the procedure, and the parameter list is enclosed in the function brackets, colon, begin and end. So with begin and end, we have to give a set of instructions which will be referred as a procedure body. For function definition, so see, in Pascal, when you are declaring a procedure, there is a procedure keyword you have to use. Whenever we want to declare a function, the function keyword we have to use, then only that programming language will refer that particular declaration as a function. So function square, then the parameter list, and see over here with the function, it will specify the return type, which is not there with the procedure. So in Pascal, procedures and functions are different, and this is the syntax for declaration of procedure and function. With procedure, there is no return type. System will take care of the return type, whereas in function, explicitly it has to return a value. Okay, so this is the Pascal procedures and function. Now after this, we will talk about the scope rules for the names. So now these names are nothing but the variables, and how the scope rules are there for these names. So variable and the scopes. So a variable is local to a procedure if the declaration occur in that particular procedure. A variable is non-local to a procedure if it is not local to that procedure, but the declaration occurs in an enclosing scope of that particular procedure. Meaning is what? I hope you are able to understand the local variables and global variable. Have you come across these keywords? So the variables which are declared in the procedure definition, they are referred as a local variables. The variables which are not there in the procedure, but if it is not local to that procedure, but the declaration occurs in an enclosing scope of the procedure. Meaning is what? That particular variable is not there in the procedure, but it is there in your program. So that will be non-local to that particular procedure. A variable is global if it occurs in the outermost scope. So there is three types of variable: local variable, non-local variable, and global variable. And what is the scope? That is the visibility, or in which particular block of code that particular variable will be accessible. So I will give you an example with the code which we have seen. After that, so see, as I mentioned, there are three types of variables: local variable, global variable, and non-local variable. Whereas scope is what? It is nothing but the availability of that particular variable in that particular line of code or in that particular block. So this is an example. See, what I will do, I will go to the code so that it will be easy for you people to understand. See, over here, A and B are the variables which are declared in my main function. Okay. Now what I will do, I will declare one more variable so that it will be easy to understand the global variable concept also. Now see, when I'm executing, automatically my int x, which is nothing but, it will take in as a global variable. So see, before main function, whatever I am declaring, it is global to the complete program. So it is accessible throughout my program. So my global variables are available, or I can access throughout my program. So my scope of the global variable is throughout the complete program. Whereas when I'm going for the main function, see, for my main body there is A and B. So my A and B will be the local variables for this particular main function. Whereas when I'm going to call the snap function, at that time, see, A and B will be non-local to the snap function, whereas x, y, and temp will be the local variables of this snapping function. So these local variables are available during this particular procedure. So see, x, y, and temp are accessible during the snap procedure, and when it comes out of your snap, they won't be accessible. See, when it won't be accessible to the main function. So x, y, and temp is going to be available. It will be available during my swap function. So these are the local variables with a swap. And always see, even though if this int is there, so I will just execute, you just observe and let me know whether you have observed a particular thing or not in your code. I want you have to let me know what is happening over here. Have you observed? Am I audible? Samruddhi, is it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so what I wanted to know you, see, global, the x variable is global, it is accessible throughout my program. A and B will be available only for the main function, and whereas when the snap function will be called, so for this snapping function, x, y, and temp, these are the local variables of this procedure, and they are available during this particular procedure. Right. So see, over here, what I wanted to let you know, my x is global variable, which I already declared. But in my swap procedure, it is again another variable x is there. So this x is having a what we can say a precedence over the global variable for this particular procedure. So this x will be available during the snap function only.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, then A and B are global or local variables?
They are local to my main function. So see, that's why if you're going to check it out on the screen, it has shown the block of code where that particular variable is accessible. Global means it will be throughout my program. So see, we will do one change so it will be easy for you to understand. What I will do, I will exchange the value of x.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, what if we want to access that global x in the swap function?
See, that's what I'm doing the changes. See, I have initialized x is equal to 100. So it is accessible, as I mentioned, throughout the program, right? Have you observed? Now, what we will do so that it will be more easy for you to understand, because we have given the value of b is also 100, so you won't be able to visualize that change. I have changed the value. And see, x is global and it is accessible throughout my complete program because that is a global variable. A and B, which are accessible during my main code. And when it is passing to the swap, in swap we are having temp x and y. Sorry, a, y and temp, right? Because I am the formal parameters are a, y and temp is there, and I'm using x. See, a, y. Have you observed over here? The value b, when I am passing with a swap function, it is copied into integer y, and that y value is now assigned to the global variable x. So global variable is accessible anywhere throughout my program. Okay, whereas in main we are having only a and b, so it is accessible. So the scope of that particular variable is within that particular block. I hope now it is understood. Yes or no? Have you got the answer now? If I want to access a global variable?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. So this is about the variable types. So same thing is explained over here. That is main function. Then in that function, you are having the different blocks. So when I'm initializing a is equal to 0, b is equal to 0, the scope will be written as per the blocks over here with the b0, b1, b2, which I have just now explained with the example with the swap. Global variable, local variable, and the variables within that particular procedure, right? So this is the scope of the variable. After that, next is lexical versus dynamic scope. So meaning is what? The variables which are nothing but identifiers declared in accordance to the nesting in the program text, and it can be determined ambiguously at compile time. So whenever that particular snap function, but obvious my compiler will identify that there is some user defined script is there, so that binding it is going to be done at the compile time. So that is the lexical scope, and whereas the dynamic scope is the identifiers are declared in accordance to when the declaration are encountered during the execution. So meaning is what? When the name is occurred, that will be done at the lexical, or that is called as a static time or compile time scope, whereas the actual identifiers when your activation or your procedure will be called at that time, that declaration will be encountered during the execution, that is your dynamic scope of the variables. So already I have talked about static, that is the scope of the name during compile time. It determines at the compile time by examining the source code alone. As I mentioned, by just looking at the name, and the examples are with the C programming, I already explained you. Ada and Pascal will be the same thing, and most closely nested scope rules. Just now with the example, I have given you the visibility of the variables during the blocks. Then dynamic, that is nothing but a scope of the name determined at runtime and by considering the current activation. So when my swap function is activated at that time, A, B, X, Y, temp, whatever be the variables in that particular procedure are there that are activated. So list, APL, snowball, these are the examples of the dynamic scope.
Ma'am, your slide is not visible.
Oh, but whatever I have taught, you are able to link with the code also. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. Because the same thing which I explained, I'm just explaining you in the terminologies which are just now we have done. So statical, that is compile time scoping, dynamic, that is at run time, it is going to determine when your actual procedure is executed. Then there are different types of parameter passing methods. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, but it's already 10:10.
Yeah, but actually you people joined late, so we started after 10:10.
Actually, we have a next lecture.
Okay, no issue. We will stop. So just I will finish my statement. Should I complete that statement which I already stated, Apurva?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Okay, and then we will stop. So, but obviously, as already I explained you about the parameters, and by using these formal parameters, there are different methods or how we can pass these parameters to the methods. So there are different ways of passing these parameters or the arguments to the procedure, and based on that, there are different ways of methods or procedure: call by value, call by reference. I hope you are familiar with call by value, call by reference, right? And along with that, there is there is one more method, that is call by value and result. So these are the different three ways of passing the parameters. That is call by value, call by reference. So as name indicates, call by value, it means we are passing the values. When we are saying call by reference, it means we are passing the address, the location of that variable. And call by value and result, that is little bit new concept to you, that we will see in the next lecture. Okay. So we will stop over here.